G'day guys, name's Chris. I'm about to do some brakes on the VS Commodore Series 3 Ute. Alright guys, I've jacked the Ute up using a trolley jack just under the rear trailing arm. So just exercise caution when doing this, that it doesn't slip off or anything like that. Use axle stands if you think appropriate. I've given it the old shaky jake test, make sure she's not going to fall. So we're going to be replacing the brake pads on the VS, which has the PBR single piston style caliper. All of them, all wheels are exactly the same, so same principle, so I'll just demonstrate the one. You only need a few basic tools. So I'll start off by just giving the bleeder nipple a quick squirt with WD-40 just to loosen him up a little bit, makes it easier later. Now you just need a couple of spanners, or a socket wrench and a spanner. So there's a retaining nut here on the caliper, you can see just here. So you need to put a 17mm spanner on that. Then you get a socket wrench with a 15 on it, and you just got to get to the bolt on the back of the caliper, which I'll try and demonstrate. So there it is there. So you just get this on here, like so, and this spanner here just holds the lock nut in position while you crank the back bolt out. So there's a bolt top and a bolt bottom just around the back here, so one here, one here. So we'll take those out and we'll go from there. Alright guys, just up to removing the brake caliper, just taking the bolts out. Before I did, I just cracked this bleeder nipple and nipped it up again, just because it's a lot easier to do while the caliper's still bolted into the this little housing there. You'll lose a little bit of oil, that's normal, nothing to be worried about. So we can always top up the reservoir later, because we're going to have to bleed the brakes anyhow. So when the caliper comes out, don't let it drop and hang off this brake line, otherwise you could risk damaging it or splitting it. So I'll just remove the two bolts now. So there's the top one. Don't lose these, just put them aside. And the bottom bolt. Oh, so here comes the caliper. So you simply just withdraw it like this and the pads will be sitting in there. So there they go, the old pads. Pretty well rooted. So I just sit the caliper there for now, just so it's not hanging on the hose. So the old pads, that was the outside one, so he didn't wear too badly. The inside one, wow, that's metal on metal. It's worn pretty unevenly there, so that's why she was yelling and screaming, that metal on metal action. So we'll be putting the new pads in. So what we have to do, here's the caliper, just hold it up. There's the brake piston. Now to insert the new calipers in here, we have to push that piston back inside the housing. There's a few kind of redneck ways you can do this. You can either lever it or get a, the way I usually do it is to use like a vice, F clamp or a G clamp, something like that, or some kind of tool. I've got this hand clamp, vice grip clamp thingy. I'll get it in the shot. So I just use this to crank it in. That just pushes the piston in. Okay, so got to be careful not to disturb this brake line too much. So as long as you don't go mashing around too badly, she'll be alright. I don't know how to do this. Hold this while I'm doing it. Hang on. Right. So what I like to do is just put it like this. And push the piston in. It will be fairly tight. Now what this is doing is this is pushing the fluid back up into the brake reservoir. See how that's going in. The piston's moving in. Now if your brake reservoir is completely full, you could risk overflowing it. So mine was down a little bit, so it's not too bad. It'll just basically top the reservoir back up by pushing the brake fluid back up the line. If your reservoir is really full, what you can do is when you push this piston back in there, just crack your bleeder nipple and fluid will squirt out when you push this back, and then nip it up when you're done. And then when we go to bleed the brakes, you can obviously you can top the reservoir back up. So yep, so that's that should be back far enough. I've pushed that into the housing. Okay, it's a bit awkward to hold the bloody camera, so there we go. Right, so you just sit that out of the road for a second. Somehow, not destroying anything. That's a pain in the ass. Okay. Fucking sit over there. So I've just, it's not really good to have it suspended like that, but I've already just lightly sitting it there. So, alright, here's the new brake pads. Plenty of meat on them, so you can see how much more thickness you need. So this is really simple. There's a couple of slots in this bracket here that the pad sits in there and in here, front and back. So what you do, you get your pad and you just slide it into this groove alongside the rotor. Trying to film this as I do it. That's been a bit of a bum. You want to get them right into that groove. So bear with me for a second. There we go, that's better. That's right into the housing now, and see that clip just sits out. That will sit into this groove in the back of the rotor, the back of the caliper when we put it back. So that's how the new brake pads sit. Should look something like that inside the pad housing, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the second one, the outside one. Now I don't think there's on these models there's a inner and an outer specific pad. They're both the same part number, same thickness. So you can see these two grooves. You just lay it against the rotor and then you just move on into this little slot here, like so. See, they just sit there. That's it. And now you get your, stay there, you get your caliper. Oh, you mother. Oh, Jesus. Try not to get these all dirty too, like dust and shit on them. And try not to get all oil and especially brake fluid all over the pads or the rotors. So stay. A bit hard to do this one-handed, but get the general idea. Now you just got to slot this back in over the pads. So like that. That's all there is to it. And then you put those two bolts back in. See how the backs of the pads are sitting in that slot with those little wing spring thingies. So that's it. You put your bolts back in and obviously tighten it up with your ring spanner back on the retaining nut, and then your socket on the other side. And then yeah, we're good to pretty well up to bleeding. So you just do the whole car all full like that, front and back. The front pads are actually a little bit thicker than the back. They're a bigger pad because the front has all the stopping power. So yeah, that's basically how you change over brake pads in a VS Commodore with the PBR single cylinder piston. So yeah, good luck guys. Alright, the brake bleeding process, eh? This is how we do it. Alright, are you ready, Rodney? Alright, when I say put your foot down, you just push the pedal towards the ground, and then I'll tell you to put it up again, okay? Alright, are you ready? Alright, go down. Alright, up. And down. And up. It's a bit of a messy process. Hang on, I'll just stick a rag here so it doesn't go fucking anus. Alright, are we up? Alright, and down. Did it go straight to the ground when I did that? Alright, pump it up a little bit. Just pump the pedal. Alright, up. Alright, now down. Okay. Yep, that's alright. Basically just got to get all the air bubbles out of the line. Alright, pump it up. Alright, now up. Alright, now down. Okay, pump it up. It's coming out pretty well. Look, I haven't seen too much air, so I think we're alright. Yeah, that's alright. I think we're pretty good. I haven't seen too much air. Okay, so we just nip the bleeder shut. Brake fluid is pretty corrosive, so we'll just get the hose and give it all a wash down when we're done. So I just had a rag. I mean, you can get those DIY little brake bleeding kits, but oh, don't worry, you just get a mate to help you do it. Okay. Now we just got to check the reservoir, see how much fluid we've lost, because you don't want to run out of fluid. Okay, yep, so we've still got plenty in there, plenty. Okay. Because you gain a bit after putting the pads in anyhow. So I'll stick that back. And you just do that process for all the other calipers, and brakes bled. Top up your reservoir, and that's how you do it.